This video will show you how to replace the rear outside door handle on a Pontiac Grand Prix. This will be mounted to the rear door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started with our job. With the door in the open position, let's focus along the inside door handle. We're going to remove our circular bezel. For this, I'm using a plastic trim tool. You're going to find you have a locking tab in this area here on the top, and the same thing down along the bottom. We're just gently prying away. We'll pull on the inside door handle and slide that out of place. We can see our two locking tabs along the inboard side there. Those look good. We can set this aside. Now let's make our way down to the grab handle. We're going to remove the plastic cover using a small pocket screwdriver. There's our locking tabs. With that cover out of the way, you're going to find that you have two circular ports. There's one here and there's one on the far side. Inside of each of these ports, you're going to find a 10mm headed mounting bolt. Go ahead and remove those bolts. Now we're going to start dislodging the door panel from the door itself. There's a couple things to think about. We do have an electronic window switch which will have wiring leading to the backside. Once we separate the door panel free from the door along the bottom, we'll have to carefully start pulling it up and away from the top. On the top, we have our door lock knob. I'm using my plastic trim tool. Now let's have a look from the back side of that panel. We're looking for our window switch wiring harness. We have an electrical connector. We're going to have to dislodge that. Now for this, I like to use a small pocket screwdriver as a prying device. You can also do this by hand. It's just a little bit harder. As I'm prying on that, I'm also pulling that electrical wiring harness down and out of position. No corrosion there. Now that we have the door panel out of the way, let's start removing the vapor barrier. Be aware of the butyl tape making its way around the entire edge. It is sticky. Don't get it on your clothing. We're going to pull this whole vapor barrier out of the way. We'll give it a quick inspection and we can set it aside. Now we can look inside this area of the door towards our outside door handle. We can see the outside door handle in the mounting hardware, but we need to start with the rod. Looking in this area, you can see a yellow connector. We have to dislodge this connector. For this, I'm using a long angled pick. I'm attempting to come behind my locking ear. I want to pry out and pull away. There we are. Now, of course, that can take several attempts. We'll remove the rod. Now we can make our way towards the handle mounting hardware. As far as the hardware, there is one bolt that's easiest to remove if you make your way through a port that's located behind this small cover. I'm just going to pry this out of the way. Looking deep inside this area, I can see my 10mm bolt. I can easily gain access. There's our mounting bolt. Now at this point, down along the bottom, I want to make my way in between the door and the handle. I want to gently twist, prying the handle up and away. Down along the bottom, we do have these two securing tabs. Along the outside of the door, we can slide this out of position. There's our small rod. We're just going to give this a little twist, and we'll slide it out of place. There it is, friend. Before we install our brand new handle, the first thing I like to do is have a quick look at my rod. I want to make sure it's not damaged in any way. I do have a small adapter which was part of my original door handle. I'll be removing and disposing that. Continuing on, we're going to clean and inspect the port on the door where the handle would sit. Just use a clean rag, some glass cleaner if necessary. All right, let's get ready to install our rear outside door handle. The first thing we like to do is install our rod. I've applied some lubricant so I can slide it through that mounting point. All right, so now we can install that door handle. We're starting with the rod. We're going to bring that down inside the door. Up along the top of the handle, we need to make sure these two ears slide behind the door, and then we're rolling the lower aspect in. On the bottom, there are two locking tabs. We're holding the door away from the body of the vehicle so it does not latch in, and we can press this in. If you need to, you could lightly tap as well. Looking along the bottom of my handle, I can see each of my two locking tabs are secured along the door. Let's continue on with our mounting bolts. I'll leave that one loose, continue on to the next. Once they're both started in, we can tighten each of them. And now we'll continue on to the rod. We'll make sure it's slid into that yellow connector and then lock down the yellow connector, holding it in place. When you go to install the rod, you should not have to lift up or down on it, just let it rest into place and lock it in. Just gonna double check, make sure it's secured. Now let's go ahead and pull on that outside door handle. We're paying attention to our rod. We want to make sure that does function in comparison to our latch. In this area, I'm going to reinstall my protective cover. If yours isn't sticky, you can hold it there with tape if necessary. One last quick inspection in this area, we can reinstall our weather barrier. As we bring this over, there's a couple areas that we want to pay attention to. There are alignment points for the weather barrier. You have one circular port up along the top here, and you'll have one down on this lower edge here. Looking at the weather barrier itself, it does have small areas that would press into those two small ports. I'm just aligning it, I'm pressing it in towards each port. As I align it, now I can go ahead and stick this to the door. It should be in the proper placement. Make your way all the way around, confirming that it is sealed. All right, let's get ready to install our inside door panel. Now I have the door panel turned so I can see the bottom portion of my window switch. I'm going to connect my electrical connector. We're aligning the locking tab, we'll press it in. Audible click from that, and it's secure. Now as we bring the door panel over, of course it needs to be in the proper positioning, but you're going to find that there's several locking tabs making their way all the way around the door panel. We need to make sure the door panel is properly aligned and secured. Of course, as we bring this over, we also need to make sure we install the door lock rod in the proper positioning on the panel itself. So we have the port for that door lock rod. Now we're bringing the door panel towards the door. I'm attempting to align this. Once it feels as though everything's aligned, I have to tap it in all the way around. We'll continue on along the grab handle. We have two mounting bolts that need to be installed and then the protective cover. As for my mounting bolts, I like to start them into the socket. Now I'm going to guide them inside of the port. Make sure that's tight. Repeat the process for the other one. We're making our way up to the inside door handle. We have our protective bezel, two locking tabs, and of course the port for the handle to slide through. Pull on the handle, slide it through the port. Align the locking tabs with their corresponding areas inside the door on that inside door handle and press it in. Double check to make sure it's secured in place. Now before we shut the door, I always like to test the functionality. So for this, rather than shutting the door, I'm using a 1/4 inch extension. I'm going to go inside of my door latch. This acts as the striker attached to the body of the vehicle. Now I'm applying pressure outward. It should not release until I pull on that handle. Of course, I have the door lock in the unlocked position. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and close the door and reopen it. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.